How can an island move without anyone moving it? It sounds impossible, until you discover that some islands aren't attached to the ground at all. From above, they look completely real. Trees grow on them, soil covers their surface. Some are large enough to look like pieces of land that simply broke away from the shore. But underneath, there may be no solid ground at all. Instead, roots, mud, peat, trapped gases, and tangled vegetation can form a giant natural raft. When that natural raft becomes buoyant enough, the shoreline can suddenly lose something it has held for years, an entire piece of land. Once separated, the island is no longer controlled by roots anchored to the earth. Wind and water currents become its new engines. A gentle current can move it a few meters. Stronger winds can push it much farther, sometimes leaving observers wondering whether they remembered its original location correctly. And this is where the phenomenon becomes truly strange. A location that appears permanent on a map may not be permanent in reality. Scientists have documented floating vegetation masses moving across lakes, carried by currents that are almost invisible from the shore. Some even become miniature ecosystems. Plants continue growing, while birds, insects, and small animals make the drifting land their temporary home. From a distance, there may be almost no clue that the ground beneath them is moving. The island simply appears to sit there until you return later. Then something impossible seems to have happened. The island has moved, even though nobody touched it. The movement can become even more dramatic when storms arrive, pushing floating vegetation away from protected waters and into open areas. Eventually, some floating islands break apart. Others become waterlogged, sink, or disappear into the surrounding vegetation, as if they were never there. That makes them surprisingly difficult to track. An island photographed in one place may be hundreds of meters away when researchers return. And unlike a normal island, its journey has no fixed destination. Wind decides one direction, water currents decide another.
The strange part is that the island isn't really traveling by itself. It is simply obeying forces that are invisible from the surface.
For centuries, people have relied on coastlines, islands, and landmarks to understand where they are. But floating islands challenge one very old assumption. Not everything that looks like land is permanently attached to the earth. Some pieces are only waiting for the right wind, current, or storm to set them free. So when you look at a quiet lake and see what appears to be an ordinary island, there may be a possibility you never considered. It might already be moving. And if an island can disappear from one location and reappear somewhere else, how many floating worlds have we mistaken for permanent land?